May 16th, and this is the PCR Coast Division Zoom meeting. And we're here today just to chat and that sort of thing. We don't have an official program. I'm happy to see that the folks that did show up. Bill, as I said, is off running trains someplace. I'm not sure if he's running trains in Santa Fe or running trains in the Santa Fe interest group.
Uh-huh.
But the word Santa Fe sits in my mind. Anyway, so he's not going to be here. And the only thing that I do as an official activity is I want to make apprise everyone, at least the people on this side of the continent, that the auction date has changed from Father's Day, June 21st, to the week after Father's Day, June 28th. The auction will be at the Alameda Senior Center again, and we're trying diligently to get some, possibly a clinic or two up, and I think that might be fun. And hopefully some nice auction items. I'm told that we still have a bunch of things to show to from the estate sale. So anyway, the end of the official business. Thank you all for coming. The thing that I really was thinking of was, I don't know of Dave, Ken, or Dave, if you actually went to the convention up in Rona Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd like to hear about it. I've just come back from, woe is me, a month of traveling in Europe. So I didn't get to go to that or a lot of other things for that matter. So what were your impressions of the convention?
Well, Dave, have anything to say?
I did not go, and it's the first one I've missed in about 30 years, but that's the way it is.
Oh,
Well, I guess I'm the one who was there.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Good
was a
morning, Bob.
well-run
Oh, good
convention.
morning.
The hotel is getting a little bit shabby, but and the restaurant service is barely making the grade. And unfortunately, they didn't have any lunch facilities, so you always had to go out. But as far as convention facilities went, it was fine. And I didn't take any pictures of anything. But I had a good time, and I only made one off-site excursion, and that was to the Northwestern Pacific car barn restoration. And it was it was very interesting. There's some very old stuff there they're trying to bring back to life. As far as his clinics went, most of them were pretty good. And I actually enjoyed the model scenery clinic. Got me thinking about what I'm doing on my own layout, and particularly with foam as a support for the scenic areas. Um, Other than that,
Yeah. Bob, Vince, we're chatting about the recently concluded convention, PCR convention, of which I unfortunately couldn't attend, and I was looking for, just a little feedback. What was good? What was less than good? Did you enjoy it? What did you see? Uh, in terms of your comment, Ken, about scenery, I think some of us are still from the cardboard strip and tape days type of thing. Anyway, Vince, Bob,
ah,
did you go to the convention, and what were your opinions?
No, I didn't go.
Okay, so there was like one person at the convention, and that was Ken.
of all people to have gone to the convention,
Of all
you're the
people,
lone
yeah.
one. Hey, I do have a product I'm about to show.
Okay, well, if let's go to
Well,
that. Sure,
I found that I saw this in a on a game and army painting set up, and it's if you can see the it's
Yeah.
from ammo, and it's acrylic concrete for dioramas,
Oh,
well, or scenery work, and I think it'd work best in O scale, but I'm trying it out on my layout because I have several 1930s poured concrete sections behind the station building. And so anyway, it's an interesting product, and
who's
I'll
who's
report on it more.
who's
So there you
who's
go.
the brand? Who's the manufacturer? I can't see it that well.
Ammo,
Ammo?
MIG ammo.
You can
Okay,
see
well,
the
we'll see if we can
It's called concrete texture, and
concrete
it's a
texture.
here. Let me show you a little
Can
bit
you
something.
put it up on the chat?
I tried it out on this little staircase that you can see here. If I can get the screen. Okay. Well, I can't. All right. But anyway, here is a little tiny staircase that I was building. And I tried out the concrete on it, and it has the right texture.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm looking
Looking for my
seriously at
camera.
this thing, and I cannot figure out how to share the screen so that we can make you a bit bigger than a thumbnail here.
Oh, yeah. There's a way to do it, and
I
I've
know.
forgotten it too.
I
Phil
think
Phil knows how to do that, but
Um,
I think each individual has
that's all
Spotlight.
control
right.
over that.
Anyway,
You're gonna,
a little bit
it's
of
spotlight.
bitty
So,
thing here.
hey, Jesse, if you go to the participants and you right click on the three dots on the right side of a participant, you should be able to spotlight somebody or something like that. That's where you'd go. So if you bring up the participants and then put the glaring light of something on them, that's probably what you do.
okay, let's go.
Okay, try it.
Or if you just double click on his picture, it might work too.
Yeah,
Okay,
wrong
that didn't
participant.
work.
Just double click on him and see what happens.
Okay, make co-host read name. Da, 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 da.
How
Yeah,
about
he
if I
might
double
have to be
click
a
on
host to share his
myself?
screen, but not to be
I
spotlit.
no, I can
Yeah,
get him
Bob keeps
bigger,
coming
but
on.
I mean,
wait
each
a second.
individual
Let's
can
try
click on
this
him
one.
and choose pin, and he gets
Here,
bigger.
I clicked on myself. All right. Now you see this little staircase? This has been coated in that MIG ammo concrete, and it has got the look and feel of concrete that's been roughly poured. That's all in the new category.
Okay, like I say, if you've got if you can type in the name in the chat so
I put
that
it in chat.
anybody can.
It's in chat.
Okay. Da.
It's $25 on Amazon. Does that sound like the right price?
No, I seem to be permanently the primary on screen.
But no, if you look in the
Double
chat, I put
click
the
on
link in.
yourself, Jesse.
How much
There
is
I
it?
am.
Well, there's a difference between what you view locally and having the host have everybody see a
Okay.
large screen, which is
Right, and
hitting somebody.
I don't, what's this? Okay, I've got in the chat something I don't know. Anyway, that just goes to show you that when you have incompetent people in charge of things, it shows up very quickly. Does anybody else have anything to share?
Somebody, Jim, or James, he put the Amazon
I see it. Okay.
Now they want
for the
25 on
for the
Amazon. Is that
product. One thing I did, I bought this from Spur Brothers, which are much cheaper than Amazon if you buy enough that it offsets the postage. I get my Amazon free, of course, being a Prime member. But I often find their prices for paints and things like that are a little bit on the extortionate side.
You might say that. I have to somewhat agree with you about Amazon sometimes. All right. Thank you for that. And it's going to be something that I have several concrete areas on my layout that I probably could use some assistance with. Speaking of layouts, home layouts, I was very impressed by they're having a meet in Bakersfield, and I think it's tomorrow, or maybe it's even today. Bakersfield, for those of you who don't know, you go through the Caldecott Tunnel and you travel forever, and at some places Bakersfield, miles and miles away. But their meet, they're having a set of clinics on layouts and construction techniques and things like that. And I think they're pretty short, the things. So what I'm trying to do is reach out to those folks and see if I can get one or several of them to actually present to us on a Saturday morning, just as a Zoom thing like this.
Jesse, see if
Sure.
they record their clinics.
I already reached out to them for that, and we'll see if they do, because that would be the ideal thing. But I haven't heard back from anybody yet. But a trip to Bakersfield is only like 2-3 hours away.
I drive down to I drive down to LA a lot. It's 45 minutes north of Grapevine, and it's 3.5 to 4 hours south of the Bay Area. But it's on 5. It's not a bad drive.
No,
But
I know. I did that when I was young and foolish, and gas was cheaper.
yeah, 2 hours will get you to Kettleman or halfway down or something
Oh
like
my
that.
God! Then we get to have bean soup.
It was the In and Out in Kettleman.
Yeah,
Oh, see, In and Out in Kettleman.
yeah.
We used to have a bean soup place down there, or something.
In and Out.
Anyway, In and Out. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Does anybody else want to share some
Cavalman
modeling
City.
things?
I
Rob,
got
Actually, it's
what
the
do you got?
Cavalman City turnoff.
yeah, that's the pea soup place. There you go.
Okay.
So
All right.
I got some stuff to share. And I want to show you what I showed my NN3 club and the feedback I got from my NN3 club, and then what I'm going to end up doing about it because my modeling took a little bit of a left-hand turn from what I thought I was going to do. So let me show, I'm going to share my screen if I can. I think I can. Wait a minute. And
There you go.
show okay. So I came up with an idea. Let me do the second one first. This is my high level plan for what I want to do for North Pacific Coast Railway, and it centers around two things. There's a large Duncan Mills um, module that's really the center of the layout. And then if you look at the lower left corner, there's a staging yard or a staging area, which is an oval with a reverse loop and a yard. And it's always at the leftmost side of the layout. The layout is going to start with Cazadero on the upper right and the staging yard. Actually, it's going to start with the staging yard first. Then I'm going to do Cazadero. Then I'll just do modules at a time, and I'll always have a reverse loop staging yard so I can do trains from what would be the Sausalito Harbor, which is what the staging yard sort of theoretically might represent, trains from Sausalito coming up. And then I can do my stuff in the layout as I've built it, and then I run stuff back down to the staging yard. So that's the concept of what I want to do. I'm sure Ken recognizes some of the key elements from North Pacific Coast. But then if I start looking at the staging yard I was going to do, so I have a concept of building my track using sectional hand-laid track. So I'm building pre-built sections of hand-laid track, and I've started with a pair of 180-degree 9-inch radius curves that are prominently in this layout, in this
Yeah, you
module.
shared that with us last
Right.
time,
And
as I
so I
remember.
actually have that, I can, yeah. So I show this so this is the staging yard, and I'm talking about it with the NN3 club, and they understand it. And they say, okay, so you're running North Pacific Coast Railway. You said you were going to run, you wanted to run a Mason Boogie, because we've been talking about the North Pacific Coast has Billy Boy, which is an 066 Mason Boogie. And I said, well, that's maybe the first scratch built locomotive that I want to do completely from scratch. And then they said, you're not running that on 9-inch radius curves. And I said, good to know. So I'm redesigning the staging yard for 9-inch radius, for 11-inch radius curves. And I'm going to start doing some track work with that as a minimum radius. I'll build some 11-inch radius jigs. What do I do with my 9-inch? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. So then I got to say, what do I do with this? This is, first of all, this works. It's great. It's two curved sections and two straights, right? So I've got, but I can't use this in my North Pacific Coast layout really, because the Billy Boy went all over the whole railroad. And so there's nowhere on the whole railroad where I really want to have 9-inch radius curves and spurs all lay in place. So I decided I'm going to make a small coffee table layout and practice doing N-scale scenery and do a complete small layout based on this. Small coffee table layout. It's a little bit of a distraction from working on North Pacific Coast, but I'll get to work on all of the other aspects of modeling and N-scale, which I haven't done yet, buildings, scenery, trees, all that other stuff. But this isn't good enough for me because I want to do some operations. So because this is modular, the next thing that I'm going to do is the straights are about 12 inches long. So I'm going to do a 12-inch long turnout piece. And that's going to be the first thing that I do. And then I'm going to do a 2 foot long passing siding. And so I'll be able to end up with a small layout with a passing siding on one side and a spur on the other side. And that's going to be a coffee table layout literally in my living room. So
Bob, why is it, Bob, when I hear you say this, I think coffee table layout taking up one space in a two-car garage.
no, but
That sounds
NN3, it's going to be two by 3 feet, 2 by 3.5 feet.
that'll be marvelous. I'm
Right.
dying to see that.
But that isn't what I've been working on since the last time, other than having this epiphany. And I'm glad I know now. And I didn't build the staging yard first and then scratch build Billy Boy later, and then it won't run. So I'm really thankful to get the advice. So the next thing to do is to start building switches. So as Ken knows, the era that I want to model, roughly 1900, was stub switches. And I found out a couple of interesting things. There's an NMRA bulletin on building stub switches that is absolutely mandatory reading for anybody doing stub switches. I'll find the reference for it, but it was easy to find. But there's no jigs and no diagrams extant in the world that I can find for making stub switches. You just build them in place by building the frog, and people just build them in place without a whole lot of use a point jig, but it's not the same thing. So I made my own jig. There we go. Out of, let's see if I can see it. It's basically out of 20 thousandths thick styrene on top of a PowerPoint edited version of a point fast track switch. So I found a number 6 NN3 fast track switch, and then it's really not the same. Once you get past the frog to the points, a stub switch and a point switch are completely different. They're the same from the frog to diverging. They're completely different from the other direction. So I modified and made a jig. And then just last night, I completed this. So
Wow.
that's my stub switch in NN3. And it's my first one. And I've test run trucks across it. I've used my gauges. I think it's going to work pretty well. We'll find out. Sometimes the first pass at stuff you throw away. And you go, the first time you do anything, it may not work. You got to just go, it's an experiment. So this is an experiment. So if this works, it'll be on a 12-inch module and it'll be great. And I'll put it in the layout. If it doesn't work, that little 12-inch module, it goes. It's an unreliable switch. I don't need an unreliable switch. But if it works, then I have a module that I can then substitute in here for this straight and then put this straight up here, and I have a spur. So that's my crazy idea to do modular hand-laid track in NN3. So after I do the turnout module, which I'm doing right now, which is a 12-inch straight turnout module, I'll do a 2-foot long passing siding module, and that'll just fit in. I can put the straight on the other side, and then I have two 12-inch straights with a 12-inch straight and a spur, a switch on this side, and a passing siding on the other side. And at that point, I'm going to start playing around with scenery and buildings. So that's what I'm working on. So it's sort of in a way, I'm sort of happy because I can have a little tiny
Bob?
layout. I could take this to an event.
Are you still interested in the North Pacific Coast videos?
Yeah, I'm interested in North Pacific Coast anything.
I sent you an email about them. I never heard back from you, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, I am absolutely interested. I apologize. I've been distracted. I'm doing something crazy at my age. I'm
the unfortunate part about it was that when I opened them, they turned out to be Blu-ray format.
Okay.
I did find a player for my laptop for Blu-ray, but I haven't been able to get the sound to work so that I need the closed captioning.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to get the sound to work. But anyway, I will
No, we
See
definitely
if
have
I
to
can,
talk
what
about
else
that.
I can do with them before I send them on to you, okay?
Oh, sounds good. I appreciate that. I do model trains to help me maintain my sanity. My wife and I have our own business, and I'm looking for a W-2 job on the side. So trains are a little crack of happiness in my life. So sometimes things fall aside. So Ken, I really appreciate your shared interest and support there.
Bob, you mentioned something as a throwaway about the fact that you found design information on NMRA on the stub switch.
Yeah.
Tell us about that just briefly, where the research was and where it was, because some of us have forgotten.
Yeah.
If
Hold on a second. So, uh,
there's a tremendous amount of good information
let me
hidden
see if I can find it right here.
someplace on the NMRA, and
Allow me to, I'm going to turn off my video and I'll find it. I'll be right back.
okay, all right.
Okay.
I generally think that the rest of us should all hang our heads. No.
Okay.
I
So I
wanted
found it. So it's table data sheet tables for stub turnouts, data application to the model sheet D3.1. Um, I'll put this the stuff word in chat. I just basically searched on stub switch jigs. But I've been using Grok a lot to help me with trying to find resources. It's not like I expect that AI is going to tell me the truth, but it can help me find documentation. And if I can find documentation somewhere, I think that's how I found this, right? So I don't trust the AI, but when AI points me to this, it saves me a lot of time. And I found out that literally I could find no apparently there's a Denver and Rio Grande Western prototype stub switch document and a patent. And that's it for stub switches. There are no jigs.
um,
But
you
but
so you did not
What's his name in
search the you
Hawaii?
did
Did his whole railroad for the Pacific Coast and some switches too.
so let me see.
Bob, I wanted to hear this story about where you applied for the job. You sounded really excited about it.
Oh, yeah, I've been okay. So yeah, we'll see. So I'm an electrical engineering leader. I managed multidisciplinary engineering teams. Jim and I worked together actually in the past doing cameras. Um, so I'm a finalist out of two positions for senior engineering manager at Agility Robotics in
Wow.
Fremont doing humanoid robots, and I'm interviewing to do AI motherboards at another company um, in Texas because I interview where jobs are, and my wife's company can move where she wants to go. So I'm interviewing in interesting companies in different places, but I went pretty far with agility. So I'll find out that on Tuesday. But that's the kind of reason why it both constrains the time I have for doing trains and absolutely mandates it because I'm in between my wife and I having our own business and me interviewing. I'm sort of frenetic and type A lot, and I need to be able to sit down and work with my hands and build things. And this was mental therapy.
That's so cool, man. I couldn't build. Well, I mean, I'm sure I could if I really, really, really tried for like 10 years. Maybe I could build that. But,
So so
like,
I decided to do something different. I decided everything I read,
Jim.
people are
Jim,
soldering
what do
this.
you got? Jim, what do you got
Jim is
there?
showing the camera there. That's the camera he referred to.
Yeah.
Bob, look at Jim's video real quick.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's our camera. Yeah. The 512N. It had great imagers. It had yeah, it was a great camera.
Well, then the
Yeah.
other thing I wanted to say real quick is that you obviously have some kind of engineering background, because you said the famous saying of build one to throw away. Now that's, for anybody in software, that's like a chapter from the Mythical Man Month book, right? Like the idea that your prototype. I mean, these days all these hot startups are taking all these prototype, products and throwing them into production, and they're building up so much technical debt. It's not funny. And so it's so nice to hear someone remind us of that idea of building a prototype and then tossing it and then building the real system.
Yeah, well, the roadbed that I made for the track, it took me 4 tries to
Wow.
actually find a material that I like. Because I used Luan, the really thin veneer, the veneer plywood, Luan, Luan plywood. But when I did straight with the grain, it was great. When I cut a curve and it got to the point where the grain was very, very short, I had parts of the grain come up,
Oh,
and it wasn't very stable and it wasn't thick enough. I want This is stable. This is strong. So I wanted something where the track could support, be well supported, and I yeah. So I ended some of this stuff I've done 3 or 4 times. The We'll see how well the Switch does. I think I'm going to be lucky, and this one will run. That's one of the things I try to do is you always schedule for 2 passes of board design, but you shoot for first pass success.
It's hilarious because my background is engineering and construction management, and we never had that opportunity to try build it and throw it away
right.
because it was like the Bay Area Rapid Transit System or the
I
Rodeo
thought Tom
Oil
Knapp had
Refinery.
written a description of how he built stub switches.
Yeah, yeah. I've got Wayne Perrier sent me a 53-page PDF on how he does them, but it's in ON3. And so some ideas carry over really directly to NN3, but he's doing stuff in Code 83
Well,
and I'm doing
that's why
stuff.
Tom Knapp did his in NN3.
Yeah,
So,
Tom and I are talking every week on Saturday, every other week on Saturdays at 2. So I'll be talking to Tom. So I got input from Tom. I have videos. I have videos of Tom's 3-way stub switches that I've blown up like this big, and just counted the number of ties and where he did things. But one of the things that I noticed is everybody tried to assemble like the frog on a bench and then solder it to the PCB ties. I put in a lot of PCB ties in my jig so that I could solder each piece of rail in individually to get it in alignment before I soldered the rail pieces together. So I didn't solder the frog until all the pieces to the frog were held in place already, and then I soldered the frog at the very end after everything was aligned, after I gauged it and I filed the frog and got everything right. Then I soldered the frog last. Everybody else soldered the frog first. I put in a lot of extra ties, PCB ties, so I could hold every rail in place by soldering it to only one tie. So if you solder 2 rails to the same tie, then when you solder the first rail, the second rail moves. So I only soldered each tie to each rail to one tie to get them all in alignment, and then I gauged them, and then I sort of soldered them all together. So I'm going to write that up in it. I looked at how everybody else was doing it and thought, I can't do that. That doesn't make sense to solder the frog together, and then I'm going to solder that on the tie, and then everything's going to move as soon as the solder's liquid. So it was like one of these Hamming codes where you only change one bit at a time when you're communicating it's a kind of code that you use for radio communication. So I tried making it so that I didn't have to rely on I soldered this and it's going to stick even though I'm soldering something else. So I'm going to write it up. I read so much stuff. Wayne Perrier had not only a 53-page article, he did a 12-page PowerPoint for O Scale West. So I actually read both of those, and then I'm going to write my own article because I did it different. but I don't write an article until I get it to work. So I actually have to put it down on track and on baseboard and finish before I can write it up.
Wow.
Pretty interesting. Yeah.
Don't look at me. I buy cast frogs from Oak Hill. They're beautiful. Brass castings with all of the bolts and everything. But that's for
Well,
HO.
I've got to, as we do every week almost, Bob, be envious and wish you luck with that.
Well,
Vince, you got anything to share?
No, not at the moment, just listening in, if that's okay.
It's fine. That's great. Okay. Hey, Jim, you at one point made a comment about Japanese paper, I think it was,
Yeah.
or some kind of paper. I've got the needs for uh, a fabric roof, HO, and I can't seem to find fabric that would be thin enough and opaque enough to work as sort of a think like a canvas tent. And I was just wondering, tell me a little bit about your paper experiences, if that might work.
It probably would. I have used it actually for modeling, and it's extremely thin, but so opaque. If you wet it down, it's quite strong, so you can wet it down quite a bit to get wrinkles and all that in it. And it'll dry without, it's not like tissue paper. It won't, like, I should say Western tissue paper. So it'll hold together. I think that's the big difference.
That might work just fine. Is there a place to get this again without having to buy 16 reams?
Not that I know of.
Okay, I'll have to hunt. And it's sold as Japanese paper?
Yeah, it's also usually called like calligraphy paper or something like that.
Called what, please?
Calligraphy paper for calligraphy.
Okay.
And if you can usually find it at Daiso, the Japanese dollar
Okay.
store.
Whography? Sorry, what's the word?
Cartography.
Oh,
Calligraphy.
cartography. Gotcha. Okay.
No, calligraphy.
Oh, calligraphy. Okay.
Calligraphy.
I wasn't hearing right. Yeah.
cartography is maps, which is
Right,
fun too.
I thought it was something completely different. I thought I was hearing a new word today.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I got to run here. I appreciate you guys doing this. It's nice to be able to drop in and see some people keeping the tradition
James,
going
you're
alive.
always welcome.
Yeah, thanks. You guys have a great weekend or weekend. Yeah, weekend, right?
Cartography is making maps.
Yep. Great talking to you, James. So I put the link for the stub switch data sheet in the chat. And it's, I gotta tell you, it's 15 pages. It tells you it is required reading if you want to play around with stub switches. So
Yeah, I tried playing around with stub switches. I haven't had any success yet. So,
well, I'll tell you what, I haven't done the bridle yet, so I'm going to be as soon I got to glue this down to a baseboard, and then I'm going to do the bridle, and then we'll have the moment of truth and see how good I really was, or whether I get to do it again. But I'm going to do a bunch of them, so I'm sure I'll get better, whatever they are. So
you realize expect to see at least a 15-minute presentation one Saturday morning on how you did this. So take some photos.
I have photos of each. Yeah, I took a photo every time I put a piece of rail down, so you can,
we don't need 57 pages, but I think that there's a lot of us that would be interested in. I mean, the whole idea of NM3, narrow gauge N scale. It amazes me, let alone, the work you're doing to hand lay everything. And as I say, please plan on putting something together as a presentation, and we'll get it up one weekend.
Yeah, well, I'm writing an article, and I'll have a set of the photographs for that, and I can figure out what I want to do as a subset. Once you get the premise down, it doesn't take a lot of time to click through the photographs of the individual rails going down. It takes a lot longer to cut them. And one of my premises was that I don't ever want to cut a gap in a rail once I put it down on a PCB tie. I did that in ON30. I used a Dremel, and it created a huge gap, and it would tear code 40 apart. And I ended up putting a little styrene filler in place and shaving, like glued a styrene filler in my code 100 Pico track. And then I shaved it to match the railhead. And I thought, I'm not doing that in NN3. So if there's a gap between two rails for the frog, I cut the shorter piece. So I cut that, I cut those pieces to fit and soldered them, not soldered the long piece and then cut it. So I decided I was going to pre-cut and preform every metal piece before I put it, because the rail's too small and the tolerances are too small. I can't get tools in there. So the gap between rails is just big enough for sandpaper. So I decided that I'd gap it with a piece of sandpaper, and then I could like sand the edges, turn sandpaper in, sand, put it the other way and sand, and I could make sure I ended up with parallel rail ends that didn't have any burrs that might short. So I decided so there were a couple of things I decided I was going to do: solder the frog last and pre-build and finish each piece of metal that went into the switch or turnout before I put it down, and not try to do any post positioning modifications to the metal. So those are my two, I'd say my two axioms that I'm using to try to, when I did this. Because my ON30 stuff, I don't like gapping rails after the thing's down. I'd end up cutting with a Dremel, and I'd have something that sort of went like this, didn't cut straight down. And then code 40 doesn't have the strength to deal with the tool, I think. So I don't know.
That's why God invented G scale.
Or F, right?
Or F, yeah. All right. Well, is there anybody else who'd like a piece of time here? Otherwise, oh, well, no, we'll do that another time. Okay, so if there's nothing much else, I want to remind everybody again about the change in the auction date to the 28th. And I want to wish everybody a wonderful day.
Can I put in a plug?
Sure, please, plug away.
On the 28th was it 27th or 28th is the auction?
The auction is the 28th. The 27th is my birthday.
On the 28th, on the 27th,
everybody to send me something.
The day before the auction is Bay Area Prototype Modelers up in Richmond. And if you look up BAPM on the web, you'll see the date and all the information. They have to have it on Saturday because they use a church hall for the event. And obviously it's not available on Sunday.
Well, like I say, I expect everybody on the 27th to send me good wishes for my birthday and maybe send me a present. And good luck on that. And hopefully I'll see everybody at the auction. Anybody else got anything? Well, Seeing none, I will wish everybody a nice weekend and happy modeling. Good luck, Bob.
Thanks.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. I really appreciate you guys.
Good luck on the interview also,
Yeah. Well, no, I'm
Take
done
care.
interviewing. I'm just waiting for a decision.
or the decision.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks.
Awesome. Hey, bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care.